Hello crafty friends, welcome back. My name is Laura and today I'm going to be showing you different ways to use the Cricut Infusible Ink. When this product first came out, I'll be honest, I was a little bit reserved. I wasn't too sure why we needed it, given that we have transfers like Ironon transfers and Ironon vinyl. But this is incredible. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It infuses into the product that you're putting it on. You can use it on quite a few different surfaces, not just fabric, so you can use it on like mugs and coasters and things as well. You can buy blanks that are especially treated to be able to accept the infusible ink, and it will literally infuse that ink onto the surface. There'll be no raised edge whatsoever, and it just becomes part of that product. So here I'm going to take you through the products that I bought. I bought these blanks from Cricut and also some Cricut Joy size transfer vinyl. You do still have to use a cutting mat with this. It's not like the smart vinyl where you don't need to, so you could buy the larger sheets as well. I also have some heat-proof tape. This is the Cricut brand, and I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these packages here. Each one comes with 2 sheets, or at least this size, it comes with 2 sheets, and they're in this protective film. It does say on the packaging that you have to keep them completely dry and away from any light source, so that is why they're in this really dark packaging, and I would suggest that you retain this packaging and you put it back inside and back inside of the box once you're finished using it. It also has a silica gel packet in there to keep it nice and moisture free, and you want to make sure that your hands are nice and clean and dry and free from any oils, from moisturizers or anything like that before you handle this product. So the infusible ink comes in just standard colours and also patterns. I'm going to be using some of the patterns today. And each tube also comes with some butcher's paper and a little note to remind you to check the instructions on the website. The instructions are slightly different depending on which type of product you're applying the infusible ink to. I'm going to be applying it to these makeup bags, and I'm going to use a large and one of the smaller. It comes in a set of 3, 2 are the same size and 1 is larger. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these apart. So I've gone ahead and measured exactly how much of my infusible ink that I'll need, and for this first example I'll be using it in a traditional way with a cutting machine, but I'm also going to show you some different ways that you can use it without a cutting machine. So I've stuck down the sheet to my Cricut Joy mat, and I've created a design in the Cricut design space. It's just 2 simple butterflies, and I'm going to run that through and let it cut. You can connect to your Cricut Joy using either a computer or a mobile phone or a tablet, and I'll have a video linked in the description below showing how I set this up. It is so simple to use. So I'll go ahead and put that away, and then I will weed the design. So far it's all pretty similar to how we work with vinyl. I am going to cut away any of the excess so I can save those pieces, and then I'll weed away what's left around the outside edge. It's a little more tricky than vinyl to weed, just given that the infusible ink is on a layer of paper, and you want to make sure that you remove both the ink and the paper when you're weeding. So it might take a couple different tries just to make sure you've got all of those layers, but it's not too difficult once you get going. And it didn't take very long at all. I did use my scissors to cut these 2 butterflies apart because I don't want to put them next to each other as they are here. That was just how I had them to cut them out, and then I'll place them on my design. Now I don't have the Cricut Easy Press, so I will just be using an iron for these projects, and the instructions advise to use the butcher's paper and just iron smooth your polyester bag, and then let that completely cool. You also want to use a lint roller. I just grabbed some tape because that was nearest to me in my craft room, and that will pull off any dust or debris that's laying on the surface to ensure a really nice smooth transfer. So you want to wait until this is all completely cold before you move on to adding your infusible ink. Here I'm laying the designs down with the coloured side facing the fabric and taping it in place with some of that heat-proof tape. I decided to use 1 butterfly in each corner, and I was just kind of playing with how I wanted them to look before I taped it down in place, and then you're ready to iron. Again, if you have the Cricut Easy Press, you can use the settings designed for the press. I've seen it in action and it does look brilliant. I just don't have it in my budget right now to get either the large or the small Cricut Easy Press, but maybe one day you'll see those in a video. So then you'll take that same piece of butcher's paper and lay it down on top and just hold your iron in place. Now I held this in place for, I believe, around 30 seconds on top of each transfer. I used a similar timing to what you would use for the Cricut Easy Press, but obviously, as you can see, I'm using an iron, and this did work just fine. So while this is still warm, obviously don't burn your fingers, but while it's still warm, you want to go ahead and peel away the backing paper. And I cannot believe how beautiful this looks. It says in the instructions that the colors become more vibrant after you transfer them, and that is definitely true. It is so, so pretty. I really do think I'm sold on infusible ink, and the fact that it's so smooth on that fabric is incredible. You can see there's a little bit of that butterfly's wing in the top right hand corner where I didn't quite fully press down on the iron, but that's a nice easy fix. So now I want to try and fill in some of the space in this design, and I was curious to see if my paper punches could actually handle cutting through this material. Now I am using one of my stronger punches because this is pretty intense. There's the ink, the backing paper, and the plastic sheet, but it did punch out just fine with the particular punch that I tried. So I'd encourage you to give that a go if you know that you have a super industrial punch. Then I'm taping these hearts down in place, again just using that heat transfer tape, and I put the butcher's paper over the top and reheated. I was slightly worried that some of that infusible ink from the butterflies would transfer back onto the butcher's paper and it would kind of lift the design. I noticed there was a tiny bit of transfer of the ink, but it didn't ruin the design at all. You can see that those butterflies look just the same as they did a minute ago. And then I'll start to peel up these hearts, and look how pretty that is. Isn't that so cool? That kind of galaxy design. I think this is a really fun product. Now, I'm keeping it pretty simple here as well, just working on these polyester bags, but there are so many blanks that you can get. You can get coasters, you can get mugs, I've seen luggage tags, I've seen like sequined pillowcases. Just take a look online. There are so many different blanks, either by Cricut or ones that are compatible because they have that polyester coating. So it really is just opening up a whole different avenue in terms of creating prints or images onto products. Now here I've moved over to using the classic Ironon vinyl, and you'll be able to see the difference between this here. This is obviously quite thick because it's the Ironon vinyl, and once I have this fully weeded, I'll iron that in place and it will leave behind the vinyl, so there'll be a slightly raised texture. It doesn't matter, it's worked well for years. However, it's really interesting to have that sublimation technology. I'm calling it technology, I don't know if that's the right word. I guess there's some science into how the formulation works, but it's really nice to have those different options. So here I'm going to lay this down. On retrospect, I probably should have used a lighter colour vinyl. I think you lose a little bit of that second word up. So it says wake up, make up. It's a little easier to see in person, but certainly on camera, you kind of lose some of that bottom section where it's in the darker areas of that galaxy print of the infusible ink. I think I've used the word sublimation a few times. Apologies if I've confused people with that. This is infusible ink. It will infuse to the product that you put it on. So here I'm ironing it in place with the vinyl, and you'll see when I peel away the transfer sheet, it just leaves behind that vinyl, and that is nicely adhered to this bag. So that is one way that you can use the infusible ink, first with the cutting technology of the Cricut machine, and then with some paper punches and adding some glittery vinyl just for a finishing touch. I did have a piece of paper or two pieces of paper inside of there just to protect everything. Again, that's covered off in the instructions. You get a website link to the instructions when you purchase the infusible ink. So now we've covered using the Cricut machine and paper punches, I'm going to show you a third way that you could use this infusible ink. So here I have another package. These are the two sheets that came in that package, and they're almost like a watercolor effect, pink and blue. They're really pretty. And I'm using my standard paper trimmer here to cut them down into 1-inch squares. And I did that for both the pink color and the blue, and then I put them away straight away inside of that dark packaging to protect them from any light sources. And I kept working, cutting these into 1-inch squares, and then I'll take each of those squares and cut them diagonally into equal triangles. So I'm going to be making a geometric pattern here, and you can see that this cuts exactly as you would cut paper. It's a little thicker because it has that plastic backing on the back, but it was no problem at all for my scissors to cut this. So you could definitely like trace a design onto a piece of paper, maybe tape that over the top and then cut around it, or just freehand it if you wanted, and you could make all sorts of different designs in that way. So here I'm taking the triangles and I'm making a geometric heart shape. I'm using that heat-proof tape to tape them together in the back, and this is a really simple geometric design. You may have seen me do it before with paper for a decorative frame video, in a decorative frame project in a previous video, but here I'm using the infusible ink just to get that same design. It's a really quick and easy one, and I think it's really effective and looks really nice. So I went ahead and prepped my surface in the exact same way. Again, I have a piece of cardstock inside of the polyester bag, and I'm using my iron to infuse the ink. Once I was happy with that, I'd left it on there for long enough. I'll peel everything away, and again, this kind of blew my mind. It's incredible. Look how vibrant those colours are now. And I just think that is so, so pretty. So much so, I decided I'm keeping this for myself. I'm not going to give it away or kind of put it on Etsy or anything like that. Like, this one's for me. I was really pleased with how this turned out. So I decided to finish this off also with some glittery Ironon vinyl. I cut my own name, and I'm using that butcher's paper again. I decided to just reuse the same piece from the first project because I'm using such a small amount of the infusible ink. I didn't want to use a fresh piece of butcher's paper and risk throwing it away and then not having it on hand when I do another project. So here I cut some more glitter vinyl, and I'm just peeling away the backing and making sure that everything is really nicely stuck. And there I have this beautiful infused ink with the glitter vinyl on top. And I think these make really great personalized gifts. So if you don't have a Cricut machine, but you do like to personalize gifts, I think this is such a great way to do that. You can use your scissors, your punches, probably some of your dies as well in a die cutting machine. And I think this infusible ink is a really great way to customize your gifts. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know in the comments. I post new videos every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So do make sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell if you wish to be notified whenever I post a new video. You can find me all across social media by searching Crafty Not Shifty, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye for now.